Start. Good morning. Good morning to everybody. Now, again, the MMPC 011 social process and behavioral issues. This is block 2. Today, we have to discuss about the block 2. Interpersonal process. Block 2 is your interpersonal process. There are 4 units. Unit 4, 5, 6, 7. Unit 4 is your personality, values, and attitudes. Unit 5 is the learning and behavioral modification. And Unit 6 is perceptions and attributions. And Unit 7 is your motivations. So now we have to see the importance of the interpersonal process, where the personality, why the personality is very much important in the organizations, their values, their attitudes. So step by step that we have to see from the organization point of view. So first of all, the Unit 4 contains within this Unit 4 the personality, values, and attitudes. They are actually different type of models, understanding the human behavior, and implications of the organizations, personality, determinants of the personality, type and traits of the approaches of the personality, theories of the personality, and impact of the personality traits in the organization, behavior, importance of the personality, everything are discussed. So, and what are the values, everything will be discussed. Now, try to understand what is the definition of the personalities. It is very essential to understand the human behavior in today's world, as the existence of the organization depends on the employees and individuals. Personality is one of the factors. It is a concept that we use continuously in our day-to-day routine while dealing with the people. Because every time we are saying is a good personality, his personality is very attractive. So many ways we have to deal it. So now we have to see what is the parameters of personality, and we have to also identify what are the determinants of these things. So all organizations are composed of individuals with different personalities, attitudes, values, perceptions, motives, aspirations, and abilities. So these are all are the I can say all are the determinants of these things. Now, as per the dance analysis, the nature of people in terms of 4 assumptions. There are 4 assumptions that have been given. Individual differences, a whole person's cause behavior, there is some sort of your motivation, and value of persons, human dignity, how much value is given, there is a human dignity. So this is the way 4 terms has been, 4 type of assumptions are based on these, the analysis has been done. Then your model of the human behavior. There are psychoanalysis model. There's a different approach, depends on the conflict model of humans. And Freud felt that the individual's behavior depends on 3 factors. There are 3 factors of there. One is your identity, the ID in short form. One is the ego, and superego. This is the way the factors are playing in the human role. Now, in the models, the identification basically means the place to certain degree of having identity in an individual is constructed, but may also lead to destructive tendencies like being the aggressiveness, dominating, fighting, and your generally destroying. This is some sort of identity. These persons are like this. We are just identifying this. But this kind of incentive is more dominating in the childhood, especially in the childhood. Maybe you'll see the nature of these. Some of the children are very aggressive. Some of them are very cool. So it will come off this way. The category, the behavior from the childhood itself, you can identify the things. But once individual develop slowly, by the education, by the learning, schooling, colleging, when it is matured slowly, then as far as the maturity is coming, so learning the control, that identity will be slowly discontrolled. But it is always unconscious. Means don't know that things are really 100% changing or not. There is no actual no thumb rule is there, but it can be controlled. Throughout the life, that identity becomes important source of thinking and behavior. Lot of research is going on in this area. Ego. Ego represents the conscious stage. Is one behavior. He knows some things, maybe in terms of money, in terms of power. So some sort of ego is playing. It is in conscious terms, and some sort of your conflict with ego. The ego depends on the super ego. If suppose you have a something desire in the mind and it is not fulfilled as per, not going as per your desire or what the way you want, it is not going. That time ego will play in mind. Superego time basically the other way it represents the conscious stage again is a conscious stage and individual is not aware of the superego's functioning. It depends on the two factors basically the cultural values and moral of the society. The two factors are playing in the time of superegos. So value, suppose it may be regional feelings, it may be some cultural feelings. So superego are coming there only from there. So consciously, unconsciously, it is automatically come in mind. That's ego is coming sometimes. So it is developed depends mostly on the parents' influence. Suppose sometimes the parents are in which belongs the families. Based on these children's is also it is reflection will go to the children's also. So once the child grows up, the child will unconsciously identify the parents' value and morals. All the what the way the parents are giving the values and particular things, children is also the, following the same things. So that is the way it is the growing things. Now, the different model we have to discuss different models. It is not scientifically based. It's based in the literature and the philosophy. The model believes that the your depersonalizing effect. Suppose the depersonalizing effect of this environment forces individuals to make their own identity. So the individuals shape their own identity and make their existence meaningful and worthful to themselves. So this is one of the concept. Today, people have become so materialistic and busy; they do not have time for traditional values and norms, and it becomes the impractical sometimes to follow them. It has happened because the people he knows they should be done, and we have to follow these things, obey these things. But depend on the situation, the environmentals, when the people are running after the comfort or the some sort of materialistic life, so that's so much busy. They forget about the some of the traditional values. So this is the things are here. Like to say these things. Then another model is your behavioristics model. In this model, the behavior is depend on two factors: stimulus and responses. Learning occurs with this key kind of model. Pavlov and Watson's with their research, it has they felt the behavior can be best understood by stimulus and response. So the model as they are saying is a SR stimulus response method modules. Another is your cognitive modules. That is in short SOR. This model emphasizes the positive and free will factors of the human beings and uses concepts such as the expectancy, depend, and incentive. Tolman says with these experiments, he has also experimented with the things, and he found that the basis of the learning as of expectancy, which is understood as one particular event leading to a particular consequences. There is a goal, and then your human behavior is based on these goals. Basically. The cognitive model is represented by stimulus, organisms, a response model. So there are so many type of models we are discussing, and the little bit concept are given here. So here actually you have to remember the type of models and which models are who has invented or who has researched. That part is very important to keep in mind. Then implications of the organizations. So that is also one of the important things because the personality, that is one of the area. Now we have to clarify, we have to understand the things, what the way the personality will affect the organizations or what the implication will come. Jordan Alford defines that personality as the dynamic organizations within the organization, within the individuals of these psychophysical physics systems that determine his unique adjustments to his environment. Personality can be described more specifically as how a person affects others, how and understands and views oneself, and the pattern of inner and outer measurable traits. What are the good things, the qualities are can measured. So the personality in one sentence we can say the personality always will be judged by the others, and the personality will affect with the other persons. I mean, basically, how he looks, not only the looks, his values, his way of talking, his knowledge, everything. Immediately, people can attract and follow whatever he is saying with the things. So this type of personality, there are so many categories of personalities there, but how much impact are given in the others members of the employees. So and that should be measurable. Inner outer, what the way he is behaving, and outside what the effect of his popularity, his interaction capability, his language skill is whatever the way that should be measurable. Then determinants of the personality. Now we are now trying to understand the what are the determinants of the personality. One is the heredity. As we know, everybody was saying this heredity is father was like this. By the parental, by the traditionally, by the forefather, father, gradually he has achieved, he has gained these things. Physical appearances also, how he looks, height, talls, everything. Basically, by the heredity, he has achieved all these things. Temperament, energy level, and biological rhythms, all are basically the characteristics which are generally influenced by one's parents. The heredity approaches feels that personality of an individual is the molecular structure of the genes. Basically, genes are located in the chromosomes. It is biologically we can derive the DNA. Nowadays, it is a very effective DNA test and all these things. So really, gene has to be tested so that you can identify, yes, this family belongs to this family or this like that. Environment is also one of the factor, one of the determinant for developing the personality. Culture plays an important role in the formation of personality because early conditioning, the norms among the family, friends and social groups, with the socialization process in the group, and personalities are altered over time. So environment is one of the key issues, I think, key determinant which is likely to be changed, or you can easily identify the effect of the particular persons. So that is another heredity one. Number two is your environmental. These are other determinant. Let's see other determinant. Another one is your situation. So situation is through an individual personality is constant. It does change depending on the situation. Different demands in the different situation call for the different aspect of the one personality. So situation is also one of the determinant because based on this you can play the role based on the situations. Demands have to have a change. For example, suppose once a particular person is a father, so he has to play the role, the different in situation when he's in the home, he has a father, so he's playing a different role. When as a husband, he has a different as a child, he's a son of the things. When you are meeting the parents, different. So it is situation is one of the factor. Accordingly, you have to your personality will be a change accordingly. It will be different. The type of traits and approaches to the personality. One of the approaches are the traditional viewed individuals as shy, lazy, melancholy, and ambitious, aggressive. These were called a trait. Basically, these all are one of the you can say the quality. Exactly not a quality. It is a is points. This is the type you can identify this type of these things. So that's why you can type and trait basically approaches. So based on these, you can know the things. Why it is all these things is required? Because when the people are working in the organizations, so everything on the point is your organization development purposes. You know the individual's type, individual traits, what are the traits that he has, his personality, is what are the determinant, everything are related to your towards it leads to your development of the organization. That's why you have to study all these things, and that's why it is important for the interpersonal process because of this block has given type of behavior of the personality and also important one of the area to be determinant point. So personality has been grouped in two categories. There are again further it is elaborated. There are type A behavior and type B behavior. So type A behavior is the people who are hard driving, impatient, aggressive, and super competitive are termed as type A. A category is personality. They are always in a hurry. They can't listen properly. They are not very fast. They have to do all these things. So type A people tend to be very productive and work very hard. So they are work alcoholics. So, so negative side of them basically we can say they are impatient, not good team players, more irritable, means they are not listening to others. Whatever is his mind, he has to do it, and have poor judgment. They are not very in a long term basis. They cannot take any very good decisions. Basically, those who are easygoing and sociable, laid back, and non-competitive are termed as type B personalities. So type B personalities, they are not so much competitive natures. They want to do it as per his own way. They have to take their own times. Sometimes it is a perfect because they can do it. Mistakes will be very less because he is taking a sufficient time to understand the things. So personality has been grouped in two categories. Uh, okay, the type B behavior, those who are easygoing, do not have urgency for time, sociable and late blocks, non-competitive are termed as the block B, type B personality. So type B people do better on complex tasks when the task is very complex natures and very sticky and very complex. Then they can slowly, as per their judgment, they can logically they can think over it and slowly they can. That's why the accuracy rather than the speed of the work. So accuracy will be more rather than the speed of the work. So everywhere different type of behavior patterns or type is there, and every people are be posted or maybe the utilizing accordingly. If you know the type of the behavior of the personality, as a organizational point of view, as suppose you are a manager, so you can post the people accordingly. Whether really it is dynamic nature people is you act, aggression is required sometimes when you are in the field or some in the basically in the army, in the police sections or others, where the immediate action to be taken. It may be a little bit right or wrong. That is doesn't matter. There no compromise for the delay. Delay cannot be any compromise. So that time people, that type of people are required. Where the you cannot take a chance for any mistakes. So different type of people, different type of behavior people are to be required. So that to posting accordingly, that type of job is to be given. So job distribution time also you have to look after the see the behavioral pattern. Based on these, you can allow the work. Allocation of the work is also important. So that's why the type A and type B behavior uh, studied listeners. Theories of personalities again it is identify the three basic assumptions. Personalities are developed in that way. They are influenced by the past and hopes for the future. So this is one of the developmental part. This is one of the category you can see the identifications. And two is all people have the potential for growth and change. There is another thing. And third is your personality is the totality of a person's interacting with the subsistence. Because where the subsistence means, suppose you are in a HR manager, you are interacting with the finance, the marketing and operations and other in the productions. So what the way you are relating and interacting with the subsistence, that the different type of personalities also totally you have to see it. How nicely you are your peer relations, how much you are correlating the things. So, because it is under the following of the intrapersonal process. So, within the system, subsystems, within the system, main systems you are integrating or the personality you are showing, that is important. So, there are different theories are there that is described in three types. There, categories. Dimensions are, as per the dimension, there are four dimensions of the theory here. That is one the extroverts versus introverts, the dimensions. Some people are very outspoken. Every time they can say whatever they have to add always something. And some people are introvert. They are not speaking very much. They are cool down, situation calm and quiet, and they are listening very carefully. So different type of things are there. Sensing types and the intuitive types. Some people are very sensitive, and some of the type cases you can see they are very intuitive type. Always a thinking a new thing. They have to change it, try to modify. They have to top up the things, and this is the way where the challenges are there. They're thinking in video. So some sort of intuitive type is also there. Thinking types. Another people are some of the types are thinking type. They are always in the think process. They are analyzing the part of things, research mode or something. Some of the type is our perceptive type. They are repeatedly do this, repeatedly, and doing the work and experiences how much fault they achieved. They are rectifying the things, fault finding things. So perception will be more clear. There are different type of people. By the practice, they are learning all these things. Judging type and another is perspective type is also there. So it is the nature of the people are different dimensions. All our dimensions have been derived here. So out of these, people, our mind is always searching the things. So it's by default this is coming, and after the due to some of the control, you can change it a little bit. What are the shortfall that can be rectified? Now, development of the personality, there are 8 life stages. There are stages are there, and there how it has developed slowly, different stages. Firstly, infancy, the child, and then after that the childhood, then your playtime, your play age, then your school time, school age, then adolescence, then your young adulthood, then your another is your adulthood, complete your mature man, then finally your uh, balanced life, your retired life or post-retirement life, whatever it is. So this is the way people are personality is also changing a little bit. This is the development of strength. The different stages of this. Then your thing is the personality life cycle of the organizations. So uh, again, there are largely specific assumptions are there. Again, the same thing, extroverts and introverts, there are life cycles basically, totally from all these angles. I mean, from the all angles, the total cycles of the organizations. Then importance of the personality. Now, uh, understanding of the personality is very important because of the determination of the characteristics will make the effective performance, and then your certain procedures by which personalities can be predicted, rating cells scales for peers and friends, experimental procedures, then your projective test like the uh, thematic appreciation test. There are so many tests are there. Based on this, you can identify or judge the other personality of particular persons. This measures helps the effectiveness of the organization. So there are so many tests are there. Based on this, you can identify the personal's capacity, characteristics, and accordingly put the particular job. Idea is to make them effective for particular job performances. So if you are really put them after the test and all these things procedures, after the selection procedures, then when you start the job, you can ensure this yes, the people will that particular persons will do the job because you have already tested everything. Is behavioral pattern, you know everything, you know all the database you have, and all these database, and also you have tested means you have to sure yes, if I put this job, then he can perform the he can give a good things. So this is the basically the idea to know what is the personality of particular individuals. Then attitudes are a very way of responding either favorably or unfavorably of the object's person's concept. So attitudes can be positive, can be negative. So that is a different issues. Attitudes are related to behavior. It is an and unidirectional. It is a unidirectional. It is a unidirectional variable, positive or negative. They have hypothetically constructs. It is something inside the person. So it may be observed, but the attitude itself cannot. Because you see, some of the people are thinking, what is his attitude? He don't know if it's right or wrong. Because it is some sort of certain rules are there. That rules are set by the society. And it is really fit for the society or not. Because accordingly, that's why you are just identifying your attitude is not good. Well, sometimes yes, it's a very good attitude. How it is defined? Because some set formula, policies are there, some guidelines are there. If the persons are behaving in that way, then you can say yes, it's good attitudes or bad attitudes. So you have to relate some of the references which are already socially it has accepted. Some of the rules are there. So we have to correlate accordingly. So, but as a person, he don't know. He may be positive, he may be negative. So, attitude in a person could be observed in three ways. So, that is one is the direct experience with the persons or the simulations, then association with the other similar persons, and learning. There are three things, observation purposes for the objectives. Then learning from others is like reflection and observations, direct experience, is the concrete of experience stage of learning. Attitude evolves out of perception and the learning process. Certain basic attitudes of trust and mistrust occurs during the infancy. If a child's basic needs are met on a loving manner, the child will develop a sense of trust. Otherwise, a sense of mistrust develops. It has happened because you are giving some toffee or something, so in a loving manner, or what are the things you are providing him. So he feel good, and you have to react accordingly. His behavior pattern will be different. So child also develops a sense of autonomy or the shame and doubts. So it has feelings. That feelings has been developed in the child itself. So all these affects one's the behavior, and this linkage of the behavior is what managers are concerned with. They also tend to understand the ways in which the behavior affects attitudes of the subordinates. Because managers should know your subordinates what the way he is behaving the things, and it is really good or bad. He has to identify the things, and he has to put it in the mainframe and mainstream in the organizations where the organization's policy or guideline has set it. So he has to observe the things very time to time. Attitudes and the organization. There are three primary attitudes, like job satisfaction, and satisfied or dissatisfied. The persons are, if he's really satisfied or not the job, you can only understand because he always may say, I'm not happy, the workload is more. So that type of things you have to identify, this is really job satisfaction, why he is not satisfied with his job. So something has to be done. So some people are very satisfied. So this is one of the attitudes. Another thing is job involvement, and the actively participation or not. You have to see the particular person's particular employee or particular human. He has really how much he has taking interest to himself. Voluntarily, you have to involve the particular this job willingly, even though it is certain his job responsibility is there. He has supposed to involve, but willingness, really is participating or not actively, that part. Another attitude we can see another with organizational commitment, loyalty, identity, involvement in the organizations. Yes, he is not only the personal things. Okay, I have done my work. Now I am getting the salary. No much. After that, I will not forget about the organizations. I don't know. But some people are still thinking how to develop it. Apart from his work, also he has voluntarily or out of the way he can try to help to the other employees as a colleagues or interns. He is helping to the organization's growth. So his focus is organizations only. So involves a lot of involvement within the organizations like this. So these are different type of attitudes of theirs. So managers need now the things that managers need not be interested only in the understanding the attitudes of the people. The question is here to if they are but also yes to changing them. Main thing, suppose you understand, you know, yes, this people is like this. He is very aggressive, or this person is very good. But even though those who are not participating or not involved in the work, not performing the work, unsatisfied, see your duty to how to change them as a manager. You have to see how best you can do it for to satisfy them. Maybe extra effort you have to give. Maybe discuss with the counseling may require, you have to counsel it, or maybe change the job, or maybe transfer the things. So you have to somehow you have to see them for their motive, for their attitude changings required. And those who are already working good, you have to motivate them more, so that they can sustain their attention. They are continue to do the same job, same in same tempo. You have to motivate. So this is really required nowadays. All the managers should be aware of all this. Since attitudes are learned, they can be changed. So persuasive communications, always you have to communicate them and use to change attitudes is very much required. So, but attitudes are slowly changes. One fine day you cannot change it. It is required some slow process, but it is possible. Values has been taken to mean moral ideas because value is one of the important general conceptions of the world, orientation towards the world. Values are collective conceptions of what is considered the goal, desirable, and proper or bad, undesirable and improper in a culture. So again, the values are different to different things because as a belief, it's a belief systems. The value is when you are feeling yes, it is really required for me, required for my company. So then it is from the inner mind. First things you have to believe these things, you have to trust things. So then you can give a value. Otherwise, if you are not believing these things, you are not trying to learn, you are not trying to understand. So you cannot give a value to particular these things. So you have to understand the things. So characteristics of values are honoring one's parents or when you do, for example, in the home, you are giving a respect to the parents because you know they are parents. They are so much money they have spent for you. They are the good wishes for you. When you are in the field in illness or something, they are providing whatever you want. They are providing. So it is some sort of your. That's why you are giving a value for them so much respect here. So love and democracy order. So truth prevails and love the neighbor and the yourself learning skill. So value systems it may differ culture to culture. One may value aggressiveness, one may other the reverse. So again, I'm talking. I want to say it. The value systems are depend on some of the subjective for the awareness, learning, understanding. Then only the can be exactly identify the value systems. So characteristics of the values are value systems. It may differ culture to culture. So one society of the USA, some of the area, they are focused on their individual achievements. So that's why they are giving a value only the money or their career only. And some other areas are the family and emphasis. Family is the way unity is required, kin support. Our India, we are giving a value of the parents. We are giving the children's their education, their service. We are giving this value particularly. So this is our value system like this. But in the USA, it will be different. The USA, they are particularly it has been surveyed by the Florence 1949. So they have surveyed they are given travel areas basically different tribes of the communities. That their individual achievement they are giving them more values. So this is the one of the way the how things are things are there. Now, to so many things are there. The values are learned in the life from the families, friends, neighbors, school, mass print, from the where the sources of things which are really influence in our life, social life. So value are coming from there. So these values become part of our personality. So it is also the part of our personality also. So there are six type of values I identified. Theoretically high, that is basically high important. Economic and the emphasis is to useful of practical, aesthetic, social, political influence, religious. So many things are characteristics. The type of values. Then socializations, influence on the personalities, values and the attitudes. Socializations is the process by which when the people are joining the and they are slowly learning. This is the learning process socially. Then after that, you have to meet with the pupils, their hierarchy levels, how to behave with the seniors, the colleagues. And then slowly they have to slowly mature and finally one fine day you will be a good asset of the company. It's a good human being. So this is the way to socializations, socialization in the organization point of view. So organizational influence the in the personality, the values and the attitudes of the individuals, different stages of the socializations, pre-arrival stages, the development, persisteness, all are things. Encounter in the organization's initial orientation training, which I just now take training experiences, everything are the falling under the socializations process. Then your some of the models are there. The new employees could attempt to fight the organizations. The result might be dismissals because lot of change in the personals. Then individualism is also there. It's a creative individualism where the employees accept the organization's values and attitudes, which is important. Sometimes it may be reject the others also. So then another thing is a conform. A person could simply conform to the organizational forces, exert very little influence in the organizations. So there are so many models are there. Then your learning of the behavior modifications, because learning is one of the change in behavior. Because only the reading and proper training, the only tools can change the behavior. It can be skills, knowledge, and your soft skill knowledge nowadays is very much important. Then your habit, attitudes, interest, and personality characteristics are also in the result in the training. So there are three important elements. The learning is a change in behavior. It is a change in the through the practice only, and relatively there is a permanent because through this learning process, what are the changes are coming in the behavior? It is true. It has proven that it is relatively permanent. So and it must be last of the fear. That's why the education is much more important. So education is very much required. So education can only allow you to change your behavior. Learning modification. There are six important components of the learning. There are since the learning involves change. Not all changes reflect the learning. The learning is reflected in the behavior also, and the change in the behavior should occur as a result of the experiences. The practice of the or the experiences must be reinforced, and it is throughout the life. Important components. Some important theories are there. Some important theories that is our classical conditions, then parental conditionings, conformity, different situation based, where the people can see how much he has react or accepted the things. This is also the learning process, the areas. So it is a process of learning to associate the particular thing in our environment with the predictions of which will happen next. So we have to prepare for this. The winter is coming, so we have to have a prepare for that. Some proactive actions there and what to do if the situation will come, how to overcome the things. So this is the classical conditions. Applied conditions, it argues that one's behavior will depend on the different situations. So suppose it is almost the situation basis. Cognitive situations are individual thoughts, knowledge, and what he has perceived throughout his from the childhood, what he has learned. So this is another theory. Social learning is different. It is called observational learning. So the stresses the ability of the things, how much based on the situation, how much he can perform. So the different type of theories are there, and basically it is categorized as classical, variety of cognitive and social learning theories. Then some of the process, attention process, retention process, motor reproduction process, and reinforcement process. There are so many processes are there to determine the influence of the models. And they see people are how much he has learning, how much attention he has given these particular situations. Retention, then after that, how much he has retained in the mind, he has really performing on the good or not, how much for the exam. exam result is also one sort of retention process because daily you have retained in your mind, which you have learned, which is reflected in your exam paper. So some sort of things, the training program also. Auto introduction principles, you have to show it how much you are following the thing. Same thing there is to repeat it. So you have to perform the same things. So like you can comment that you have already have to motivate the next step, but he knows how much he has improved. I mean, some extra you have to show it. So performance wise. So this is another uh, things that yes. Then various type of reinforcement, the positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, distinctions, punishment is also at the extreme stage. Punishment is the extreme stage. This is another weapon for the behavior changes. You can transfer it or you have to. What about the things are started by the company as per the disciplinary actions? So this is another last stage. So um, then organizational learning can take place in individual level, uh, in team level, or organizational levels. So learning this depends on so many levels are there. Organizational learning can be described as the ability for the organizational development, understanding the game, insight from the experience, so many things. Then your it promotes the individual development of the knowledge, skills. Then your another is organizational learning is also related to organizational change, contribution, how much contribute can contribute to things. So there are so many loops are there. Basically, there are three styles. Basically, the learning styles. One is the single loop, the double loop, and another is things. Training. Now, training is important because training is a process through which the people can systematically acquire the improved and skill the knowledge needed to better job performance. Example, the executive training programs, management training programs, there are so many programs are there, supervisory training programs. So training also can be categorized in different levels, mental levels, top management levels, supervisory levels, and study preparation of the study materials. So, and another thing is that during the making the program, the participation is also important. People not only learn more quickly, but also retain the skills longer when they are having activated participated in the learning process. If you give some single one person's some of the program, he may or may not be retaining his mind in a long time. But when you are as a group or they are participated, they can always interact to each other. They can learn more. And what about the materials? What about the teaching process? What about the things? They can understand better as a group. So participation is very important. And repetitions, because sometimes the repetition is also very much required because to keep in to perform the tasks more thing can be sustained. For sustaining the things, you can say the continuation of the same job, repetition is also sometimes is very effective. So benefits of the repetition from the learning is new skills and performing a task need, not the be emphasized. So transfer of training. So this is also important. Whatever the training you have listened the things, you have to apply it in the job also. Otherwise the training will be money will be wasted. Suppose you are training some of the teaching persons in a computer skills. After that, they are not proceeding the computer sections. They are not implementing the things. Then it is not totally wasted. So transfer of the training is very important. You have to immediately have to post to them that place. Feedback is also very important because it is extremely difficult for learning the occurs in the absence of feedback. Because if you don't have the feedback, you cannot judge that really it is effective or not. Or not only that, feedback is another important. But the future training programs, you can edit, you can redesign the things based on the feedback. So that's why feedback is very important. So feedback provides information about the effectiveness of the one's trainings. Then application of the organization, that's the organizational behavior management. It implies the systematic applications of positive reinforcement principles in operational settings for the purpose of raising the incidence of and observable organizational behaviors. To be effective in using organizational behavior management programs, managers should pinpoint the desired behavior, determine exactly how will the people perform the behavior and they wish to change it, determine exactly what performance goal is being sought, they decide exactly how the desired behavior will be rewarded, facilities learning by rewarding behaviors that come closer to the corrections criteria, reevaluate the program periodically. That is also another thing. So you have to periodically you have to what are the program that has to be reevaluated. Discipline is also important because the organizational systematic use the reward to encourage the discipline behavior because those are good have to be rewarded. So that they can have a promote the things, and those who are not deserve use some punishment, but discuss the undesirable behaviors. And not only that, you can have some of the model. That yes, if you are do good job, you will be right. You are not do job, punishment will be there. So it will be second. So there are both the things should be there. So that we can reduce or in some competitive mind you have to develop it. Then your some behavioral modification process, setting of the goal. First things you have to set the goal. Behavioral assessment. First of you have to assessment the things. Behavioral assessment. Then your frequency, duration, and intensity is also required. The intervention or techniques that could be used are specified, evaluation, and the follow-up. So there are notification processes. Nature of the perceptions. Persistence are one of the main things. It is a process through push the information from outside the environment is received, organized, and interpreted to make the meaningful clear. Persistence is determined by both physiological and psychological characteristics of the human being, where sensations is convinced with only the psychological, physiological features. Perception is a subjective process. Different people may perceive the same environment differently based on that what particular aspects of the situations they choose to selectively absorb. So the nature of the perceptions are different things. Various factors are there. Various factors influence the perceptions. Uh, Perceivers. Now, one of the perceivers, an individual looks at the target and attempts to interpret what he or she stands for and what interpretation is influenced. The attitude, motives, interact, experience, expectations, self-concept. These all are the influence factors. Target is one of the things, the characteristics in the target that is being observed can affect what is the perception. Physical appearance, verbal communications, non-verbal communication, and objectives. These all are the characteristics. Situation. Changing situation leads to incorrect perceptions about the persons. The factors that influence the perception of the time, work setting, social settings, these are all are the factors, or I can say these are all are the challenges. Basically, all are challenges that during if we change something, situations, he may not be leads to this some chances of incorrections. When he is not performing well. So that is also one of the area to see so that that influence the factors can be removed or the effect can be reduced. So there are so many effects are there. There's a halo effect error. There people are other basis of the attitudes. They are favorable or unfavorable is called the this is a halo effect. Then stereotype same repeatedly work the person solely in the basis of a category of the people she or she thinks are there. Then expectancy, another the problem is another problem is there because people are when the people are educated, they have to self feelings will be there. They have to show things that expectations only. Now, these are the projections. Under certain conditions, people are tend to different feelings, tendencies, and motives. So I think now this is the way we can finish it up today. So now next class we can okay. Namaste.